What's happening, cat daddies and foxy mamas? It's the Blaxploitation fanatic back with another episode of the Blaxploitation Appreciation Podcast, where we celebrate Blaxploitation culture from movies to books to music and everything in between. So let's go ahead and hop into today's episode. And today's movie is a movie, probably a little known movie known as The Black Connection, or AKA Run Nigga Run. Now, this movie came out in 1974. It wasn't a big hit or anything. If I kind of had to put it, where does it rank with other blaxploitation? It's kind of like that middle tier, okay type of deal. And what it's about is a drug dealer slash pimp, I guess, who owes two different mob families. He owes one money, owes another one dope, and he goes on the run trying to evade them. Now, who was in this movie? The movie was billed as kind of starring, if you could see it over there, starring the Checkmates. So right there, the Checkmates were an R&B group, let me get out of the way, who were discovered by Nancy Wilson, and their name came from them being a mixed group. But even though this was the original incarnation of the Checkmates, those who were mainly in the Black Connection was when they became a trio later in the 70s. So these are the main character, or the main group members, and the ones who were in the Black Connection. And the star of it was this guy here, Bobby Stevens, and he plays the lead, the guy Miles Carter. That was his character name, who was supposedly a dope dealer and a pimp. And in addition to this, that's kind of like, I mean, the Checkmates were the top billing. Now, there was another guy in the movie by the name of Tommy Mo Raft, that's his name, and he played a mobster. That's him right there, playing a mobster. I love his name in the movie. It was Don Giuliano, true mob name. But the interesting thing about Tommy Mo Raft is he was a burlesque comedian way back in the day. So that's kind of like, it's a fuzzy picture, but that's him. So for him to come from that to playing a mafia figure is pretty hilarious. And, one of the things about this particular movie, I will tell you, is it kind of, if I take you back to the Hitman episode, and I talked about how Hitman started, and I was like, any movie that starts like this, I mean, it's going to be a good movie. I was thinking that about The Black Connection. So let me play like the scene of how it started, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. So check this out. So, like with the Vegas, the hip music, the funky music, kind of like cruising down the Vegas strip and showing some casino stuff. I was like, okay, this is going to be all right. Um, it wasn't all right. I mean, wasn't totally bad. I've seen much worse in the blaxploitation genre, but it didn't live up to what I was hoping it would be. Now, again, the Checkmates were the leads. You had Tommy Mo Raft as a villain, and then Bobby Stevens. He had his main squeeze in the movie was played by Martha Washington, who didn't do much of anything else outside of this movie. She played a character called Magda, and I just want to play one scene when she enters, and this was, to me, you may not think it's all of that, but I was just like, hey, when I first saw her walking in, and I was like, this is a fine sister, man. So let's take a look at this real quick. I mean, tall, long legs, long hair, beautiful sister, man. So I was like, but as the movie kind of went on, you got to see a few more close-ups. She wasn't as beautiful as I thought, but that entrance scene, I really like that about her. Now, little few highlights about this particular movie. The guy, Bobby Stevens, character Miles Carter, he owes two different mafia families, trying to evade them both. So what it is one mafia family, the one he owes money to, they hire a hitman to kill him, while the other mafia family still wants him alive to sell dope. And what happens is the hitman from the one family kills a member of the other mafia family. And so towards the end, Carter, Bobby Stevens, he thinks he knows how to keep them both happy, but really at the end, spoiler alert, he's rubbed out, the hitman rubs him out. So with all of that being said, again, it's a good it's a decent watch, let me put it that way. If you love Blaxploitation, you'll appreciate this. If it's like, hey man, I just tell me about the best, then I would say skip over this one. um, and just to kind of show you how low budget and bad this movie was, in the beginning, the opening credits, like I said, Bobby Stevens plays a character. His character's name is Miles Carter, excuse me, Miles Carter. That's how he's referred throughout the whole movie. In the opening credits, they actually have him listed as Mike Carter. So I don't know if they didn't have enough money to redo the credits, or if the characters just called him by the wrong name. But I think based on the movie, his character was truly Miles Carter, and they just got the credits wrong. There was some really bad acting in this movie, especially by um, the guys who played in the mafia. I mean, you could tell these guys are going over the top, trying to have the Italian accents and just trying to portray mob figures. It was just really bad and over the top. And one of the scenes that's pretty interesting is the his this guy from the you know this guy the guy on the far end, on the far left end. it, until I saw this picture of the checkmates, when I saw him in the movie, I thought his afro was fake. So take a look at this scene here.
We Sam Cole? No, I wouldn't call him that dude. I can't call him nobody. You know who they call it? Tried to press me without even coming down. That's all the shit I mean. Brother, he tried to press me.
So, I mean, let's go back to that for a minute. When you look at that, I was watching this movie. I'm like, it's a really bad wig of an afro. But again, when I saw the picture of the checkmates, I'm like, I think that's his real afro. So, um, who knows? Now, again, like I said, as someone who loves Blaxploitation, as a Blaxploitation fanatic, I enjoyed the movie. Again, it was watchable. It was decent, but not everyone thought that way. So if a couple of episodes ago, I told you about a couple of resources, the guys that I looked to learn about Blaxploitation movies. And there was two books I referenced. So Josiah Howard's Blaxploitation Cinema, the Essential Reference Guide, and then David Walker's Badass Mofo. And so both of these guys reviewed the movie or talked about the movie, and what Josiah said, he wasn't as harsh. He described it as super low budget with atrocious acting, poor sound, and lit like an operating room. Now, Badass Mofo, David Walker, he was a lot more harsh. He called it a vile piece of boring shit that said its heart and soul, not one single redeeming value. And here is another example of some of the horrific acting. I guess this is one of Miles Carter's horrors or whatever, but just check out this acting. This is horrible.
I'm hurting, sweet baby. I'm hurting. And it ain't for that big, beautiful black doll of yours. I wish it was. You read me?
I'm hurting. I'm hurting, sweet baby. I had to play that scene back like about 3 or 4 times because it was just so unbelievably bad. It's hilarious. Now, like I said, it's not the best movie, but one of the things I did enjoy, it has great aesthetics. You know me, I'm big on the aesthetics of the Blaxploitation genre. So this one, in terms of the threads or clothes worn, the cars, you saw some of the beginning scene with the Vegas Strip, but just seeing visuals in the movie were really enjoyable. And so this is very small scene. This is when Miles Carter, he's kind of when how I say, he thought he knew how to play the mob families. This is a scene where he's kind of taken off in, very short, but I I like this in terms of aesthetics. So yeah, I mean, if you could get a glimpse of, he had the full length leather trench. The car he was getting into was fly. His hat was dope. So yeah, aesthetics. It's a great movie. Not a great movie, but it's a lot of great aesthetics in the movie. Let me put it that way. Now, the other thing that I will mention about this is it's only an hour and 20 minutes long, but that seems too long for this movie. It was, some scenes were drawn out and they were very, very long. And I think it was either simply to fill out time in the movie or to showcase songs from the group's album, because their album had an album titled FSO, and a lot of songs on that were in the movie. So in essence, FSO was almost like the soundtrack to the movie. And I thought I had some liner notes. Now, one of the things that, you know, um, about the particular group, I don't know how popular the Checkmates became, but I would have hoped that they would have made it, simply because in reading the liner notes for the album FSO, they kind of, the guys really bore their soul a little bit in terms of talking about some of the challenges and struggles they've had with prior record companies. And they eventually wound up starting their own record company to put their thing out. And so they were just saying how it felt good to have freedom to be able to do their own thing and to just not be bound and shackled by other record companies. So again, I don't know much about them. I hope they were able to find some success, but if nothing else, you can hear some of their sounds if you go peep this movie or pick up their FSO soundtrack. All right. So then, with that in mind, let's go ahead and shift over to our book for the week. And surprisingly, our book is also titled The Black Connection. No connection between the book and the movie, though. It's just the same name. It's by Randolph Harris from 1974, and it's a Holloway House book as well. And before I go on, I just want to give a shout out to my man Chris Rubio. Chris is a guy I met who put me up on a lot of Holloway House stuff, because he actually made a connection with the original owner of the Holloway House publishing company, Bentley Morris. And he was able to get a hold of a lot of Holloway House books, and kind of gave me some history about some of the Holloway House actors and stuff. So shout out to Chris Rubio. And if you're interested in picking up any Holloway House books, go check out his eBay store. He's under seller 8060, so 8060 underscore Melrose underscore Ave. And I'll put that in the show notes. But if you want to pick up any Holloway House books that you might be interested in reading, go check out his eBay store. So shout out to Chris. But what the Black Connection is about is basically it's about a dope man who builds up a smooth running organization with operations in Chicago and Detroit. And there's this teenage gang who wants in on the action. The teenage gang is called the Black Angels, and they want a piece of the pie. So what they do is they start attacking the dope man's dealers and crippling his organization. All this going on while the organization and the dope man is under investigation by the feds. Now, with this particular book, it's a decent read, similar to how The Black Connection was a decent movie, but this book is very formulaic, I would say, and predictable. And what I mean by that is I could kind of see what was coming. I could see this is where it's going. It was almost like the author was like, hey, this is what seems to be hip, urban, or Blaxploitation oriented. So let me just make sure I check the boxes that have those types of things in there. I mean, you had, the dirty cops, you had the dope dealer with the or his main man who he's putting in work. They're tight throughout the whole book. And then at some point down the road, what happens is his main man's brother gets killed or dies from an overdose of the dope that the organization is putting out. And so he kind of changes and flips on his boy. And they had Dirty Cop on the payroll, politician on payroll. So it's just kind of like when you read it, or as I was reading it, I could kind of foresee some things that were coming. And again, a decent read, but it was just pretty formulaic to me. But nevertheless, worth checking out. Okay. So that's the book, The Black Connection, Randolph Harris. Hey, cat daddies and foxy mamas. Do you want to be the star of your own blaxploitation movie or book? Well, jump over to blaxploitme.com, where all you got to do is upload a headshot, you fill out a couple of details, and boom, you can generate your own movie poster or book cover with you as the star in 1970s blaxploitation style. Check it out. Peace. And then the last thing we cover is our music. And our music for this week it's a group called The Smith Connection, and the album is titled Under My Wings. Now, if I don't tell you anything else during this episode, I'm going to tell you, go find and get this album. This album came out in 1972. It was on Music Merchant Records, which was surprisingly the third record label started by Holland Dozier Holland, who used to be producers from Motown, and we've talked about them in prior episodes because they had the Invictus label, and I think the Marino brothers were on that one. They had the Hot Wax label, Laura Lee, who we covered, I think, was on that, or vice versa. But they also had a third label called Music Merchant that the Smith Connection was on. And these guys, they were three brothers, Danny Lewis and Michael Smith from St. Louis. And this album is full of like slow, mellow soul. It's their only album, but like I said, if you can find this, pick this up, man. Because these guys, I don't know why they didn't, blow up and make more albums or more music. But it's a beautiful album. It's very slow and mellow soul, but it's some beautiful songs on here, man. They have a song called I Can't Hold On Much Longer. They did a cover of My World Is Empty Without You by the Supremes. And they have a song called I've Come to Stay, which is kind of like classic 70s soul. And then my favorite one, to the point that I'm going to, take the risk of giving you a little snippet of it, is called I've Been in Love. And this has actually been sampled by a few rappers, but it's called I've Been in Love. Let's see if we can hear a little bit of that one. That's just freaking beautiful. So yeah, check this out. There's a website out there called funkmysoul.gr. It has a lot of it. It's actually, that website has put me up on a lot of obscure old soul. So funkmysoul.gr, you can go. That's where I found the Smith Connection. But, it's a wonderful listen, man. So that's kind of the things we're covering in this episode. But before I leave you, got one other thing. You all know that I said that one of the biggest things that I enjoy about the blaxploitation genre is the aesthetics, the visuals. And so, as I've watched movies, as I've read the books, I always envision myself possibly being on a blaxploitation movie poster or a book cover. And so I did this site, man, called blaxploitme.com, where, you could go out there and become the star of your own blaxploitation movie or book. So if you get a chance, check it out. That's blaxploitme.com. And you can see what I did here. All you have to do is when you go to the site, you upload a headshot. So you can use your webcam, you can upload an existing headshot. You can, make the title of your book. You can say the characters in your movie, title your movie, and the whole nine. And so this one, I did a book cover. I made myself a guerrilla revolutionary title called Going Bananas, and just made up an author, Stokely Shakur. So I will warn you though, if you go out there, when I first got it all together and was doing it, I spent a couple of hours on there, man, just making different movie posters. So what I'm going to do is probably over the next few episodes, I'm going to be showcasing some of the ones I did. And if you actually go to the site and do one and you want me to put yours on the show, just send it to me. You can email it to me at admin@blaxploitationpaperbacks.com. Or if you upload it to Google, send me a link to the Google, but I'll showcase yours on the show because again, man, I love the visuals and just to be able to put myself inside a Blaxploitation book cover or Blaxploitation movie poster. I thought that was awesome. So that's what we're going to do for this week, Cat Daddies and Foxy Mamas, before we get out of here. Again, our movie, The Black Connection, aka Run Nigga Run. The book, also The Black Connection by Randolph Harris. And then the music, The Smith Connection, Under My Wings. So check it out, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.